All right, everybody, we've got some Seattle Seahawks breaking news here. Just a few minutes ago, this came across my desk, and it's fairly significant. So let's go ahead and peel into this one just a little bit here. Per Mike Garofalo on X, the Seahawks have a passing game coordinator. And you guys might remember in a recent video, I talked about how I felt like this was an important hire because so many of the guys on our coaching staff, particularly on the offensive side, are guys who are relatively new to this whole NFL thing. Grubb, first time he's coached in the NFL. Huff, first time he's coached in the NFL. I wanted a guy with a lot of NFL experience. And then when we supposedly are looking at Fred Walker for the quarterback coaching job, a guy who's been in the NFL just for a couple of years here, I said passing game coordinator is going to be important, and I'd really like to get somebody with a decent amount of NFL experience. So today, the Seahawks have made that hire of a guy with a pretty good amount of NFL experience. It's Jake Peetz. Jake Peetz, the passing game specialist for the Rams last season, the last two seasons, in fact. And we're going to take a look at his resume a little bit here, but if you take a look at the body of work, he has been in the NFL for a little while. This is a guy who was under consideration for the offensive coordinator job in Tampa Bay. Recently, he's been offensive coordinator for the LSU Tigers. Now he's coming to Seattle to be our passing game coordinator. Important hire, and I think we got a pretty good one here. I'm pretty happy with this. He doesn't have a massive amount of NFL experience, and some of the experience he has isn't necessarily stand out, but the work he did this most recent year with the Rams, pretty notable. He had an older quarterback who was starting to physically break down. Cooper Kupp, his best receiver by far, missed a chunk of the season with an injury, and he was able to squeeze out some really good things using a fifth-round rookie like a Puka Nacua. He was able to find his way to the postseason with a team that really didn't look like they were going to be able to threaten very much. They got stuff out of Tutu Atwell. And, I mean, before this season, Tutu Atwell, he didn't look like he was going to be that kind of a player. So there was some really good things going on, and I know it's mostly McVay. I'm not going to say Jake Peetz is the wizard behind the Rams' passing attack this last year, but there's some good stuff in this resume, and there's reason to believe that he's going to bring some very positive things here to Seattle. So with all that being said, let's peel open the Jake Peetz onion a little bit here to understand what we're getting into. So I'm just going to pull up Wikipedia here and take a look at what he's done. Like I said, last 2 years, pass game specialist for the Rams. 2022 obviously was not a good year, but everybody got hurt. He didn't have Puka yet, so I don't think anybody's going to hold that against him. He was at LSU for 1 year as the offensive coordinator and quarterback coach. No, that was not with Joe Burrow, unfortunately. That would have been a pretty good mark in the resume, but this was obviously after Joe Burrow left. LSU hasn't been quite the powerhouse they've been with Joe Burrow in recent years. So he did spend that 1 year in college football. A lot of responsibility, though. He was the OC and the quarterback coach. That makes him arguably the most powerful person on the team, except for the head coach himself. And I guess maybe the, what do they call them in college football? They're not general managers. They're AGs, I think, the AG. So decent amount of responsibility there at LSU. Year before that, he was in Carolina for 2 years. First year, the running back coach. And then the next year, he was the quarterback coach. The quarterback this year for Carolina was Teddy Bridgewater. So, I mean, a very limited amount of talent you're working with there. Teddy Bridgewater, kind of the quintessential bridge quarterback, game manager type. So, not the worst, but certainly not anything we're too excited about. And the running back coach stuff, I mean, it's good to build experience, and it's good that he's in the NFL. But I don't know how relevant that's going to be to him now as a passing game coordinator. Year before that, he was in Alabama, offensive analyst with a leaning towards quarterbacks. So that's pretty good. I mean, Alabama, 2018, that would have been Tua, right? And Tua would go on to become a top 5 pick in the draft. He would go on to be a relatively legendary college quarterback. So, granted, Alabama has churned out quality quarterbacks without him, both before and after, with guys like Bryce Young after, A.J. McCarron before, I guess you could say Mac Jones after, before. Also, you've got a guy like got Jalen Hurts, I think, was there for a little bit. I can't remember if this was before or after, but pretty good work. You know, you're doing your job at Alabama, I guess. Credit to him. He was a quarterback coach for 1 year before that with the Raiders. This is one of the Derek Carr years, right after Derek Carr's big injury that he sustained the previous year, where he was actually a assistant quarterback coach for 2016. So he did some good work with Derek Carr, I think is the thing that stands out here. Derek Carr had a fantastic season in 2016, and you can kind of see the chain of events that led to him having that responsibility, Peetz having responsibility for that level of improvement in Carr's game. Senior offensive assistant, assistant quarterback coach, and then the full-on quarterback coach. 3-year span where he keeps moving up in the Oakland ranks, doing some pretty good work with that quarterback there. And let's remember, Derek Carr was not some super blue chipper when he came into the league. He was a second rounder. He was considered a good prospect, but not some money in the bank one. He was the offensive quality control coach on the 2014 Redskins. Now, I believe the 2014 was one of the years where they had that elite coaching staff. I know McVay was there as the offensive coordinator in 2014, but I think they also had guys like, I think this is going to be one of the years where Shanahan was there, LaFleur was there, so he got to rub elbows with the best, and McVay thought so much of him that almost a decade later, he brought him on board with his Rams team as the pass game specialist. So there's something positive to take away from there as well. Even though it's just a 1-year stint as an offensive quality control coach, there's something to take away there. He had a year as a Alabama offensive analyst leaning towards quarterbacks in 2013 as well. So they had him for 1 year, and then they brought him back 5 years later for one more year. So I guess they liked him. 2012 Jaguars assistant quarterback coach. Was this this might have been a Blaine Gabbert year, I think, if I recall correctly. It's been a while, but I think it might have been a Blaine Gabbert year, so that's not great. But Blaine Gabbert's not good, let's be real here. Like, no assistant quarterback coach is going to help that, really. He did actually spend several years as an executive for the Jacksonville Jaguars in their front office as a scout. So that's what he was doing before then, and then he has a couple of stints in college that I'm not really going to go too much into here, but a lot of experience in the NFL. Not all of it is great, I will grant you, but some of it is. Like what he did in Washington, even though it wasn't over-the-top special, he got to hang out with some of the best head coaches in the league now. He got to hang out with the Shanahans, the McVays, the LaFleurs. I think maybe Slowick was on this roster at this point, or this coaching staff. Maybe Slowick was there, I'm not sure. Some of the stuff he did with the Raiders was actually good. I think that this is a positive mark on his resume. And again, the most important thing is what he's done recently. And recently, the work he did with the Rams, really, really strong. It's 2023, that Rams team didn't look like they were going to be anything. And a big reason why they were something is that Stafford had a really nice bounce back year, and they got elite production out of Puka Nacua. And you can trace some of that back to a guy like Jake Peetz. So, seems like a good hire to me. Seems like the kind of hire that makes sense. Somebody to offset our lack of experience in our offensive coaching staff room. I like it. I'm on board with it. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys have any strong opinions here. I will see you guys later tonight on stream. Go Hawks.